Welcome to the Ricky Mathews Show, where we celebrate Mississippi and the amazing people who are working so hard to make this such a great place to live, work, and play. You know, if I go back and look at some of the shows that I've had focused on tourism, one of the shows that I really enjoy having is with my friend Woody Bailey, who is sort of the father of Cruisin The Coast, man. You know, his work over so many years, I honestly don't know how he hangs in there as long as he does and as long as he has. But what they've created in this epic event in coastal Mississippi cannot be overstated. It's a very unique Cruisin The Coast event. If you're a regular listener, you hear me talk about this often, and you've heard me and Woody talk about it. And that is because whereas a typical cruising event involves going to this open field where they display the cards and whatever, they don't actually cruise. And what's cool about this event in coastal Mississippi is it showcases Highway 90 and this connectivity between the various communities that make up coastal Mississippi. And it's really sort of the ultimate, on the big stage showing of coastal Mississippi from Moss Point all the way over to Bay St. Louis. What an amazing event this is. And one of the cool things that's happening during the event is this auto auction that takes place at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. By now, if you're involved in the cruising, you probably know well about Vicari Auctions. But what they've created there is really a best-in-class auction that is more than just cars these days, and it's kind of this wonderful event that happens during the Cruisin The Coast event. And with that said, I have invited my friend Pete Vicari from Vicari Auctions to join us, and we'll chat about this year's event. But before we go any further, let me just welcome Pete back to the show. How you doing, my friend?
Good, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Hey, look, I've told listeners this before, but when I became publisher of the Times-Picayune over in New Orleans, it's so ironic because I had a place in the warehouse district, but I kept my base station here in Mississippi. And we sold our previous home to a guy and then built a home next door. And the guy we sold our previous home was to Pete Vicari, who he was originally from the West Bank. He's been in the development business, and what he's done in the car collection world and the car auction world is truly a story in and of itself. But I have really enjoyed my friendship with Pete. He's been a great neighbor and someone I've enjoyed watching. He's had a lot of success in his life, and he probably doesn't have to work, to be honest with you, but he loves the car business, man. The car auction business is something that you're just drawn to. It's beyond just being a business. You're passionate about, aren't you, Pete?
Yeah, I've been, I bought my first car when I was 14 years old, and it's in my blood. I got motor oil in my blood.
You really do. And I remember you telling me once, you said, I don't spend a lot of time investing my money in stock market and all this other junk. You've done really well collecting and selling cars over a bunch of years, haven't you?
Yeah, I used to tell everybody, when you invest in stocks, you send your money to New York and, you watch the paper and you hope it goes up and down. And I tell people all the time, if you buy a car right, because you make money when you buy it, not when you sell it, you can enjoy it. It's in your garage. You can go out with your wife on a weekend. And I've helped a lot of people. They've called me and said, man, I got this car, and what do you think about the price? And I'll tell them, hey, it's overpriced, or it's fair, or buy it because it's undervalued. And in a year, you're going to double your money. And, you and I both know a mutual friend of ours, Henry. And Henry and I have made tremendous money on buying and selling cars together.
Yeah, for people who have watched sort of car auctions on these reality shows on TV, Pete's car auction has been a reality show along the way, but it's a best in class approach to having an auto auction where they really engage the audience, and it's a fun event. But the thing about the Coliseum event during the cruising is that, Pete, the success of this, I can't overstate this. You literally didn't have a spot to put another car last year, did you?
We've outgrown the facility. We had to take in a parking lot that was outside the building, and we had to fence it in. And we actually took, I think it was about 300 spots from people to park because we needed it for the auction. But let's back up a minute. You mentioned Woody as the father of the event. Well, I don't want people to forget about the grandfather of the event, and that's Gene Oswald. Gene Oswald was the director in the early days, and he and I and Woody, we all worked side to side. And, Gene was taken by cancer, and but, he worked, Woody was in his business, I was in my business, but Gene did the day-to-day stuff and set all the groundwork, and it just went on from there.
Yeah, I had the pleasure when I was at the Sun Herald of working with Gene, as so many of us did in this community. And you're right, man. He put the nuts and bolts in place to make this event what it is, and gave Woody something to really build off of once he passed away. And I think Woody would be the first to tell you that Gene had just phenomenal impact on Cruisin the Coast. But your show has become one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the entire South. When you started to do this, did you have any idea that it was going to become so successful?
No, when Gene and I, Gene called me, and I was doing auctions here in New Orleans, and he called me, says, "Look, we want to start this show in Cruisin the Coast." And I said, "Man, I'm in," because I've been going to Biloxi since I was a kid, And then, after we bought the house from you, we were like part-time native there, I guess,
Yeah.
But when Gene, when the first year we had 300 cars in a parking lot, and we thought that we could grow this into maybe 1,000, 1,500 cars. No one envisioned that, Woody has released 3 weeks ago that they had 8,500. And that's at that time, at that point, we have never been 8,500. And, we're predicting it's going to be over 10,000. So to go back 27 years when we were 3 or 4 guys sitting around the table and we were taught that it would be 1,000 cars, now we're 10,000, so it's great for the community. And it's all about, we've met people all over the country. They've come and, people have not missed an event, and it's their yearly vacation. And, what it does for the community is by far, we were told we're the biggest event in the South. The impact study that was done is a 30 million plus impact to the community, and over 200,000 people come. And, I got people calling us looking for hotel rooms. That's why we're building a luxury RV park, so it's not going to be ready this year, but it'll be ready come spring. And then for next year, it'll be available.
Well, hey, by the way, congratulations on that, and thanks for making such a big investment in the city of Gulfport, right there at the corner of Cowan and Highway 90. It's going to be a VIP RV park. That's going to be something we can all be proud of. And I have told you one-on-one before that I think it's going to become extremely successful. It's going to be one of those places, once people discover it, they're going to have it. Some are going to be there year round, but they're certainly going to have it for the same time every year. You're looking for that kind of success, aren't you?
Yeah, because it's going to be called Gulfport RV Luxury Resort, because it's right at almost the last couple of properties in Gulfport, right before Biloxi starts. And it was an opportunity zone that the federal governments and the state have, picked that site needed some help, because it's the old fire station where it got destroyed for Katrina. And the bank had it, and they could never get off the ground and never could figure out anything. So we took it, and myself and my 2 sons, and we rocking and rolling, and we believe that no one really in the South, they trying, but we've hired national marketing people, and we're going to go after the snowbirds, because all the snowbirds go down to Florida. And, if you're coming from Wyoming and you're coming through 10, well, we want you to stop in Gulfport and Biloxi. Yeah. And we're going to knock on your door, and we're going to go to all the RV seminars and the gatherings they have all over the country, and we're going to invite them down. And once people see that, and come to the Southern hospitality that we have down here, they're coming back. I mean,
well, you've done shopping centers, you've done construction, you built a very successful multi-location Dairy Queen franchise, which you recently sold. You've had a lot of success. It's fun watching you and your sons work together, not only on something like the RV park, but also the auction. Great opportunity for you and your family to do things together in business. This year's event is October the 4th through the 7th. It's going to have, everything from collector cars to custom convertibles to modern-day muscle cars. They're actually going to have 700 celebrities signed and rare collectible memorabilia available. We'll talk a little bit more about the specific event when we come back on the other side with Pete Vicari from Vicari Auctions. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. We have my friend Pete Vicari from Vicari Auctions, the 26th annual, Pete, you're getting old, annual Vicari collector car auction at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum is coming up on October 4th through the 7th, right at the heart of the Cruisin The Coast activities. And it's always a really, really popular event. But people come from all over the country to sell their cars, and they come from all over the country to buy a car. And then you've got some that actually, what I might call whales, that might call in using the internet and buy multiple cars. So it's turned into this sort of multifaceted, multimedia type event that has found a way to really be successful. Even in a year where there might be a lot of potential competitors, you guys have really found your niche, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, Cruisin The Coast is voted 4 times by USA Today as #1 car event. So, we've grown to where everybody knows it. You can't go anywhere in the country and say, have you heard of Cruisin The Coast? Very seldom will somebody say no. They all, yeah, but I just haven't been there. I said, dude, if you ever come, you will never miss another one. And, quite honestly, we sell cars. We ship to Germany, Australia, somewhere else. And we have people from England come in last year. You know what I mean? We knocked it out the park. We now we have a mature show that we got to make sure that nothing happens to it. And we got to manage it properly and make sure everybody's happy when they come.
Hey, what's interesting about it is that you've advanced in so many different ways. One of the things I'm impressed by, in fact, is that talking about multimedia and new technologies, you have found where car enthusiasts are all around the country, and you're in that niche talking to them, whether it be podcasts or influencers or whatever it might be. You have really worked hard. So in fact, what you have done actually by building this like really solid event that's hitting on a bunch of cylinders, by doing what you're doing, by telling the story of your auction and also, incidentally, telling the story of cruising, you're contributing to the success of cruising. You get that completely, don't you?
We do, and it's hard to put a value on what I do. I just me, the auction company, we outspend Cruisin The Coast probably 3 times for marketing, but we're actually selling to the whole world Cruisin The Coast, just not Vicari Auction.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to be successful because I'm actually the official auction company of Cruisin The Coast, but I don't want to just single out just me. I want the whole event to do well.
Yeah.
I want all the hotels to do well. I want all the restaurants to do well.
Yeah, it is a great event, that is for sure. Cruisin The Coast, and to have the Vicari Auctions in the middle of it is terrific. It's amazing though. If you'd have told me 10 or 15 years ago that this new Coast Coliseum and Convention Center, the convention center part of it, that you would literally outgrow the entire thing and have to go into the parking lot, I'd have said there's no way.
Well, Matt, the general manager over there, he always said, man, take more. But you kind of got to grow in and take baby steps until you see that it's going to happen. And then it's now been last year, we just said, we're going to open the doors and we're going to build this thing. And now Matt's like, you can't grow no more. I said, Matt, You told me to take more. You see, so now you wish, you ask for what you wish, and now you're telling me no. I need more, build more.
We need to work on that. We'll have to teach him how to say yes.
But he's doing the best he can, I guess, with what money's he got, because I understand he's bought the west side, a lot of those houses, so that'll be an expansion for parking.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, they're moving the Coliseum along. What's interesting about the Coliseum, we talk about it just about every time Matt and I get together on the show, is that they're not like this government organization where all this free tax money's come pouring in there. They have to literally run it like a business. They have a P&L. That's why during the pandemic they had to continue to fire on so many different cylinders. It was really amazing watching them in action as they continue to run it like a business. And your partnership with him goes back a long, long way. And I know he doesn't take that for granted. I know you don't take it for granted either. That is for sure. Hey, so what are some of the highlights of this year's event, Pete?
Well, let me just go on talk about one thing, because I need to thank Phil Bryan, the previous governor. Matt, because he was that they had that Holiday Inn in the front of the building, and he was strapped for parking, not just for us, but for all the concerts and all the other events. When Phil came there, he used to come on Saturdays to open the event, and I said, Matt, come to me. He says, man, we need that Holiday Inn. It's going up for auction. We need it. And I kind of pulled Phil on the side and said, Phil, you got to help us, dude. This man's struggling. We don't get anything out of the taxes. The hotel people don't write us a check. Help him. And 2 days later, Matt called me and says, I don't know what you told that man, but he's sending us money.
Yeah, well, he certainly got it. And the short time we have left, what are some of the headlines for this year's event?
Well, like I said, Wednesday we got the Hollywood memorabilia. They've got some crazy nice stuff that's been autographed, and it's all got certificate of authenticities. They got a lot of nice cars. I mean, we've got 60 Impala convertible. We got RTs. We got 71 Hemi Cuda. Less than 30 of those cars were built. I mean, we've got some really nice stuff. All I say is go to my website, Vicari Auction. That's Vicari auction.com. You'll see everything that we're going to auction off. You also have a link to Cruisin the Coast, or you can go to Cruisin the Coast and it links to me. So
it's all there. It's all. It's great. Hey, Pete, real quick, what are you most proud of in your private collection? What's the thing you're most proud of?
Well, I have 1963 is a different body style from a 62. It's the 63 Stingray. I have pre-production prototypes, but to really put the icing on the cake, I have 3 of them, and they consecutively VIN numbers. So I have 3 consecutive prototype Corvettes that you can go on. It's on YouTube. 1963 prototype Corvette. There's a video about them, and the Corvette magazines are coming in. They're going to be at Cruisin the Coast covering it for the first time. They're going to cover the whole event, and then on Monday they come into my car museum and doing the pictures and all for those cars.
I'm surprised you don't have a car museum here now associated with one of the casinos. Is that something you ever talked about?
Yes, that is in the plans. It's kind of put on the shelf. We were going to do the RV park and the museum, but we had some hurdles to go get approved through the RV park. And now that that's up and going, in the future will be another car museum, because at the IP, when my first sale for Cruisin the Coast, I sold that collection for Mr. Ralph Engelstadt.
Wow.
So, and now that Cruisin has grown into this, we're going to come with a museum. So you got a sneak preview. You hear it now. A museum.
That will definitely be cool for sure. So you're gonna hit another record this year?
I sure hope so. Pray for us. Bring the family out. Y'all come on out. I hope it's a great look. Last year we had great weather. I hope it's the same this year. You know.
I know. Man, I'm knocking on wood. I'm doing the sign of cross. I know you're a good Catholic with me.
Yes.
It's been a quiet tropical season. we don't.
I don't want nobody to get hurt. I don't want no storms. I pray, go to church every morning, and I pray for a successful Cruisin the Coast and bless everybody.
I know, man. Me too. Listen, you think about last year, the weather was, buddy, it was so pretty, wasn't it?
Yes. And right now it's nice and cool. I get up at 5:30 in the morning. When I walk outside, it's like, oh, my God, if this could stay like this.
Hey, listen, I walked outside yesterday, and I told Ann, I said, man, it feels good out here. She said, don't tell me it's cool. I said, well, no, it's close to being cool.
Right.
You can't quite cut it like you could a week ago, but still, I'm looking forward to those cool days, and they're not far behind. And cool days in coastal Mississippi kind of go hand in glove with Cruisin the Coast and the Vicari auctions at the Coast Coliseum. It's let's hope we have a stellar world-class weather, my friend.
Yep, we're praying.
Okay, so let me give you real quick as we're kind of winding this down. Last couple of little quick comments. October 4th through the 7th, and it's the Vicari Auction. It's the 26th annual Vicari Auction. And my friend Pete Vicari has been engaged in this from the very beginning. I think one of the cool things about the event is that he spends as much time talking about cruising as he does talking about the auction itself. He will have cars coming in from all over the place and people buying them from all over the world. And if you want to go just see an entertaining event, this is a great place to bring the family. And then, of course, you get all the memorabilia that goes with it. It's not just an auction anymore. It's so much more. Pete, thank you, my friend, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We will. Hey, listen, we'll try to have Pete back and talk about some of the fun stories along the way, some of the cool people he's met along the way before the auction actually occurs. We'll have him back in the next couple of weeks. Have a great day, and we'll see you after this break.